So like every other engineer, I am a gearhead. For this show, it's hip hop. It's simple. It's track and vocal, but there are certain things that we can do to make it sound better. Signal flow for Rocky is a 9245 capsule, being transmission over a digital 6000, and then that hits my desk, which is a Digico SD12. Out of the SD12, I insert a Avalon 737 compressor on it. I don't know, it just adds like this grit that translates through the PA. Out of that insert point, it runs into waves, which I use to do slight dynamic EQ, which is fine, you know, talking about cupping the microphone. Instead of me chasing the EQ, I let the dynamic EQ do it for me. After that, everything busts down. So the vocal and the music busts down into my master, which has a Portico master bus processor on it. And then that leaves my console and hits the PA. Huge fan of the Digital 6000 series, especially paired with the 9245 capsule. For the longest, I was a fan of the 9235, but I've gotten the opportunity to, I guess at this point, demo the 45. And for him being out in front of the PA, it's perfect. So when I have the opportunity to actually mix a band, there are a couple key microphones that I tend to stick to. One of them being the KM184. That's almost always on my hi-hats. There's something about the high end, the airiness. It's a perfect sound for me. Another one would have to be the 904 on toms. If there was one piece of gear that I probably couldn't live without, it would probably be either Waves C6 or Waves F6. C6 being a dynamic compressor and F6 being a dynamic equalizer. You know, C6, for example, tends to go with me wherever I go. So another thing I probably don't go out on tour or a show without would probably be my talkback microphone, which is the 835. Funny story, I actually went to Europe and one of the guys had an 835 that had an automatic release, which was like, it's so simple, but it's something that's so crazy. I leave my talkback on a lot, where I get yelled at on comms, but it's kind of beat up, so I think I need a new 835 anyway. So yeah, I never leave home without it. Earlier today, just like every single day when we come into a venue, we tune the PA. So that's myself and normally the systems engineer. Today I had the monitor engineer, Moshe, and the system engineer, Bernard, helping me with this process, where basically we are taking the PA, making sure the main hangs are in line with the outfill hangs, and also making sure that the subs are in time with the tops. And I think that's very key to getting a good sound for a show. And the way that I do it and the way that I've learned from, you know, a couple of my buddies, we want the system as a whole to move together. Once you start having speakers move differently at different times, it tends to cause more havoc than what we really want to happen for a show. And so while we're tuning the PA, we are using pink noise from the console as our generator into a program called Smart. As that comes out through the speakers, it's being referenced through a Earthworks M30 microphone, which has a pretty much flat frequency response, which gets us the best reference to what's happening, not only what the speaker is doing, but what the speakers and the system as a whole is doing in the room. And then once I get it, you know, the transfer function in Smart pretty much as flat as I want it to be, or to how I want it to look for the room, I decide to walk around the room and listen to each spot, making fine adjustments, especially for me on the outfill hangs. That's where I just feel like, you know, it gets a little gnarly with two speakers pointing at almost the same area. And we make those adjustments, walk it again, and we're pretty much good to go. So here we are at front of house for the Injured Generation Tour. I'm currently mixing on a Digico SD12. All the microphones come from Monitor World, hitting the desk, which we have digital 6000s down there. As they leave the desk, they are, I have a Avalon 737 inserted on it. After that, insert A goes into Waves, where I have an R channel doing a little bit of gating, and then an F6, which just does some dynamic EQing when he decides to cup the microphone. or if he's feeling a little bit ill that day, it helps me not chase EQs the whole time. And then from there, everything hits my master bus, which then hits my Neve master bus processor. And then from there, it goes right to the PA speakers. So as we make our way over to Monitor World, which is stage left, let's take a look at the speakers that we have for the show. They are D&B J series boxes. Today, I think we have 14 boxes on the mains and then 12 or 8 boxes on the side hang, which hits the side of the crowd. On the ground, we have 9 subs per sides, which again are D&B. They are B22 models, which get you that real thump feeling that a lot of subs can't reproduce. And to be honest, D&B is probably in the top 3 of my favorite PAs to ever mix on. So let's go over to Monitor World. So we are here in Monitor World, basically the epicenter of everything audio on this tour. We have our playback operator, Stefan.
Yep.
We have my guy, Moshe, who's mixing monitors. Jean, our other playback operator. This is where everything audio happens. So just like myself out at front of house, I'm on a Digico, so is Moshe. He's on the SD10 this time, bigger footprint, but same power, same sound. We like Digico around here, as you see on his shirt. If you take a look over here, we have our RF rack, which has the digital 6000 microphones that all of our artists use on stage. And then we have the 2050 IEMs that, again, all of our artists use to monitor while they perform.